Alright guys, here's 1.7, a problem-solving plan. So what we're doing here is we're going to be working on coming up with a plan that's going to help us when we're dealing with word problems. Now this is really important stuff because very often we run into a problem where you see a word problem, you got a lot of numbers, you don't know what's important, and we have to figure out what to do with it. And the steps for our problem-solving plan is going to go as follows. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to read and understand. Read and understand. Now, I cannot stress how important this is that you read the entire thing first. Read and understand it is great, but one of the things that I really think is very, very important that goes along with this, one of the first things you need to ask yourself here is, what is the question? What is the question? What are they asking of me? So many times students get a word problem and they see a bunch of numbers and all of a sudden they start adding and subtracting and they start multiplying and dividing and they don't know why. They're just trying to use all the numbers and they don't realize that they could very easily have asked what the question is, read the problem, understood it, and solved it with no problem. The second thing is you're going to make a plan. When they say make a plan, this means how am I going to solve it? Am I going to draw a picture? Am I going to make a number sentence, an equation? Am I going to make a diagram? All of these are possible options, but make a plan. Figure out how am I going to solve it. The third step is to solve the problem. Figure out what is the answer. And the last step, now this is the most important step right here. The last step. Look back. I cannot stress this enough. So many times we don't take time and check our work. We don't reread the problem. We don't see if our answer is reasonable. I'm telling you, this is the number one way to make sure that you do not lose points on a test for no reason, is to look back and check your work. So let's use this in an example right now. Let's go ahead and try a problem together. So let's try this problem here. First thing, read and understand. So I have $100. I want to buy an MP3 player that costs $160. Each week I get $20 for allowance. How many more weeks until I can buy the MP3 player? Now, here's what I like to do with this, okay? The first thing I'm going to look at is right here. How many more weeks before I can buy the MP3 player? That tells me right now what my question is. I've got all this information, but I'm not going to use it yet. I'm going to look here and try to figure out what my answer is. So the question is, how many more weeks until I can buy my MP3 player? This tells me right here that I'm not looking for a dollar amount. Now my answer is going to be an amount of weeks. So I'm going to come right down here at the bottom, and I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to write the word weeks right here, because I know that my answer needs to be in weeks, otherwise I did something wrong. So I've read the problem, I understand what I'm doing. Now I'm going to make a plan to solve this. So if I want to know the amount of weeks, and I'm working with money here, so I'm going to start by saying the total amount of money I need is $160. Awesome. Now I have some money. I don't need to earn all the money. So if I take away the amount of money that I have from the amount of money that the MP3 player costs, that will tell me what? That will tell me how much more money I need in order to buy the MP3 player. So I subtract the amount of money I have from the amount of money I need, and I end up with $60. Now be careful. Ask yourself, $60, what is that $60? That $60 is how much more money I need to buy my MP3 player. So I come down here, and with $60 here, if I get $20 each week, all I need to do is divide my $20 into the $60 I need, and that should give me the number of weeks I need. So 20 goes into 60 3 times, and so my answer is 3 weeks. Awesome. So now we're done. No, we're not. So let's look back and see if our answer is reasonable. And now I'm going to make a plan again, and I'm going to sort it out to see if it's reasonable. Now, if I earn $20 every week, and I'm doing this for 3 weeks, I end up with $60. Now, I already have $100. So, if I add my $100 plus the $60 I earned, will that give me the amount of money that I need to buy the MP3 player? And I look, and my answer here matches the amount of money I need to buy the MP3 player, and so I know my answer is reasonable. That's right, guys. We read and understood it, we made a plan, we solved it, and then we looked back and checked to make sure our answer is reasonable. Those are your steps for solving a word problem.